What's up, guys? So we're gonna show you some chest fly basics. A few just tips on how you do a chest fly or like what type of equipment to do a chest fly on. If you wanna like really press me on it, I think the optimal one is going to be a cable setup like this. Could be a corner cable machine or any kind of cable machine setup. And next one would be a machine, and then the last one would be a dumbbell. Reason for that, with a dumbbell, if I was laying down, once again, the thing that affects the torque for a dumbbell around your joint is gravity, right? Gravity is always pulling straight down. So as you're doing here, right, it's pretty darn hard with a dumbbell. But by the time you get to here, your joints are stacked and you can handle that basically all day. And so it goes from not hard at all to like, wow, that's really hard. So not bad, but we'll call it suboptimal with a dumbbell. With machines, it's a little bit better. It just depends on the machine, to be totally honest with you. But one thing I find really hard in a lot of machines is to get a really deep stretch. But also, one of the things you can't do on machine is play with the angle of the insertion, either from high to low or low to high. So for Viva, for example, we have it set up pretty neutral here just for this demo. But when she's doing a chest fly, she actually does like it a little bit higher. She just gets a better contraction in her chest. She feels it more, engages more. It's more comfortable for her. Totally fine. If you've seen any other videos, there really is no one way to do any type of exercise. There's general rules we want to apply, but one of the things that I would encourage you to do is to not be afraid of experimenting with the angle, especially if you're warming up, keeping weights light, and if you're feeling pretty locked in, and or if you're always tried to do something and just never felt comfortable, right? So we'll get started here, and the chest fly, reach around here, cool. So one of the things with the chest fly, you keep your elbows nice and tall here. The biggest cue I can give you is one, at the back here, you should feel a stretch in your chest. This is my wife, this is why I can poke her. And so you're gonna feel a stretch in your chest here. If you're not feeling a stretch here, if you're getting hit by the bottom, just means you're too far. Machines, you can play with this sometimes you can't, depends on the machine. But do your best to get a nice big stretch here. And then as she's coming up, she's imagining there's a pin between her bicep and her chest, and she's trying to squeeze the life out of that pin as hard as she can, and then coming back down. Once again, doing a nice big stretch, going to that stop and the stop sign. And then once again, if there's a pin here, she is squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. And you can see there's a few different ways that she can be kind of playing with her hands. My preferred way is to actually lead with the pinkies a little bit. So pinky's gonna be in, and now she goes. And this is once again a little bit of a way to manipulate the joint, get a little bit more squeezy squeeze out of it. But you can do neutral too. And if you're doing a machine, you can't do that. So go ahead and rack it up. So a few other things, if you watch the chest press video, on the way back, one of the things that's gonna really help you get that nice big stretch is think about squeezing your shoulder blades together, right? You're purposely flexing the opposite muscle group to get more of a stretch out of the targeted muscle group. Once again, go to that stop and the stop sign, leading with your pinkies, squeezing as hard as you can just for a beat before you come in. Once again, not being afraid to play with the arm path, right? Depending on what you're trying to do or what's comfortable for your shoulders. And as always, if you have a janky shoulder or something like that, and you can't go all the way to this stretch position, that's okay. If your pain-free range of motion is here, sweet. Live in that range of motion, progress that range of motion, make it stronger. It's all good. Just because it's not optimal or perfect, whatever that word means, doesn't mean it's not good. It doesn't mean you can't progress the targeted muscle group. So this is chest fly. Ask me any questions if you have them.